Hi, my name is Toby and this is Beer and Pretzels Tabletop. Today I am playing Rapture. Rapture is a tabletop skirmish wargame by the German company Gravity Bay. The game is currently being funded via Kickstarter and you can find a link to the campaign in the description below. Have fun watching and make sure to share your thoughts on the game in the comment section. In Rapture, every player plays his own mission. Prior to the game, every player selects 3 mission cards, and then one of those is chosen at random. The Angel faction has to choose from missions which are only available to them. Sven gets the mission Activate Transmission Towers for his Atlantis faction. He places 2 transmission towers, or in this case generators, on the center line. They can be activated in base-to-base contact for 1 action point. The Atlanteans receive 60 points in a round where they activated both generators. For my Angels, I get the mission Reassemble. I have to place 4 Angel shards on the battlefield. An Angel shard can be absorbed for 1 action point. The first time this happens for each shard, I receive 20 points. As soon as all shards have been absorbed, they can be sent back to the mothership via the zone in the middle, which would net me another 80 points. In addition, each of us gets points in the value of destroyed enemies. And if one of us manages to wipe out the enemy completely, he gets another 30 points. The game ends after 6 rounds, or if one player is wiped out. My Angel battle group contains Raziel, the Herald, Sia, the Angel of Evocation, and Yael, the Angel of War. And yes, that's his real name. Sven's Atlantis battle group contains Danai of the Council of Telos, an Abyssal Turtle, Lyra, a Guard of Telos, Gionas of the Council of Telos, and Kiena, another Guard of Telos. Prior to deployment, Sven may place a spring crack. This is water terrain which the Atlanteans can interact with. I place Sia on the right, followed by Raziel in the center, and Yael on the left. Sven deploys Lyra on my right, followed by Gionas. Danai forms the center, followed by Kiena, and the Abyss Turtle on the left. After deployment, Sven places another spring crack. At the beginning of each round, we add up the initiative values of all of our fighters, and the player with the highest value gets the first activation. I have 16 and Sven has 13, so I start. I first activate Raziel. I spend 1 of his 4 action points and move him to the first Angel shard. All Angels can fly, so they ignore terrain. I spend another action point and absorb the shard. Then I move again with the 3rd action point. 2 moves per activation are allowed. I discard my last action point. Sven activates his turtle and moves it into the spring crack. Then he spends 1 action point for its dive action and places it within the other spring crack. With its 3rd and last action point, the turtle uses its shriek action. It is automatically successful, and within 7 centimeters, all enemies lose 1 morale point and suffer D3 hits. My Angels are immune against morale damage, so I only suffer the 2 hits. I can now try to block these with my defense of 3. I roll 3 dice, and each 5 or higher blocks 1 hit. I get no 5s, so I suffer 2 points of damage. Next I activate Sia and fly towards Raziel. Then he tries his ability Soul Energy for 1 action point on Raziel. I need a 4 or higher, and am successful. Raziel now heals up to 3 points of damage. Next I try the ability Shield of God on Raziel. I need a 4 or higher, and fail. I am allowed to successfully cast the ability once per round, so I spent another action point to retry. This time I'm successful, and Raziel gets +1 to his defense value until the end of the round. Sven activates Kiana and moves him twice towards the left generator. Normally he would have to measure each movement, as pre-measuring is not allowed, but we use the quicker option as we are still far away from each other. I activate Eayael and also move him towards the generator. Then I move him a second time to the left angel shard. I absorb the shard, and then I try the ability Manipulation of the Mind, which would cost all enemies within 20 centimeters 2 morale points. I need a 4 or higher, but I fail. Sven activates Danai and tries Knight of the Tentacle, needing a 3 or higher. He makes it, and can now place a tentacle in base-to-base contact. He tries again, as he can summon up to 2 tentacles, and he again makes it. Next, Danai moves forward once, and his tentacles are simply placed in base-to-base contact. Next, Gionas activates and moves once towards my right side. Then he makes another move towards the center. Lyra is next and moves twice towards the cover of the building. This is the end of round 1. Not much action yet, but this will quickly change. At the beginning of each round, all action points and reaction points are refreshed. I again have the first activation and move Raziel in contact with the turtle. Because of my terrifying rule, the turtle loses 2 morale points. I ended my movement within water, so I have to check if I suffer 1 damage point due to drowning. This happens on a 1, but it doesn't. Next, Raziel makes a close combat attack against the turtle. It can now make a counter blow for 2 reaction points, or a dodge for 1 reaction point. For dodging, a technique value of higher than 0 is required, which none of the Atlanteans has, so Sven decides for a counter blow. However, Raziel attacks first, he hits on a 3 or higher, and has 6 attacks. And I hit with all 6 dice. The turtle blocks with its defense value of 2, so 2 dice on a 5 or higher, and Sven negates 1 of the hits. The scaly skin of the turtle automatically negates another hit, so she suffers 4 points of damage. On the 3rd point of damage, she suffers -1 to her defense, and on the 4th, -3 morale points, which costs it 1 of its attacks. Now the turtle makes its counter blow, which is a close combat attack with -1 to hit. This means Sven needs 6s to hit, and he misses. A model may attack in close combat twice per activation, so Raziel attacks again for another action point. The turtle has no more reaction points, so it can't react anymore. I score 4 hits, and Sven blocks none of them with his defense of 1, which wouldn't have made a difference, as the turtle would have been defeated in any case. With his last action point, Raziel uses his ability Released from Vows on Lyra. I need a 4 or higher and make it. I may now make 1 action with Lyra and fire her ultrasonic cannon at Gionas. She has 4 shots and hits on 3 or higher and hits 2 times. Gionas has a defense of 1 and doesn't block any shots, and thanks to his scaly skin, he suffers 1 point of damage. In addition, the ultrasonic cannon inflicts 1 point of morale damage. Sven activates Kiana and moves him into contact with Eayaye. He makes a close combat attack, and I react with a counter blow. Kiana hits on 3 or higher and hits 3 times. I have a defense of 2, but block no hits, and Eayaye loses 2 health points. In addition, he gets 1 poison marker. Unfortunately, my counter blow fails because of terrible rolls, as well as Kana's scaly skin. Kana attacks again, and this time I can't react. Sven hits 3 times, I block once, and suffer 2 more points of damage and -1 to my defense. I activate Eayaye right away, and lose 1 action point because of the poison. First I try Eayaye's ability Damnation, which would give me +1 to my hit rolls. I need a 4 and don't make it. Instead of trying again, I make a close combat attack against Kiena, and he responds with a counter blow. I hit 4 times, Sven blocks 1 damage point, and the scaly skin another 1. Kiena makes his counter blow, and he hits 4 times. I can't block this much damage, and the brave Atlantean has taken down the angel. The absorbed angel shard is placed in its stead. Sven activates Gionas and moves him forward. Then he moves a second time, ignoring Raziel. With his third action, he tries climbing Elgay against Sia. He needs a 4+ and is successful. Sia can make no move actions for the rest of the round. This is definitely annoying. I activate Sia, but his options are severely limited now. So I just try to cast a Shield of God on Raziel, which is successful. Sven activates Lyra and moves her once to the side. Then she moves a second time, so that she has a line of sight to Seiya. And then she fires her ultrasonic cannon on the angel. As Seiya is more fragile than he looks, I decide to make a Seek Shelter reaction for 1 reaction point. This gives me a Shelter token, which gives me +1 defense against range attacks. I also block ranged attack hits on a 4 or higher. However, I also suffer some downsides in close combat and have to spend a standing up action before I can do anything else. Lyra's shots only hit once, and I block the hit. Next, Danai activates and moves towards me together with his tentacles. And then both tentacles fire at Sia. They hit on a 4, and the first one hits twice, but I block both hits. The second tentacle also hits twice, and I again block everything. The second round ends with a heavy loss for me. Let's see if I can fight myself out of this hole. At least I've already achieved some of my scenario goals, but Sven now is in a pretty good position. At the beginning of round 3 we again determine initiative, and because of my casualty, Sven has managed to catch up to me and has now the initiative. He uses this and moves Danai into contact with Sia, who still has his shelter marker. All 3 now attack Sia, and the shelter marker halves Sia's defense in close combat, and he also can't react. Danai attacks first and hits twice. I don't block any hits and suffer 2 points of damage. This gives me a defense of 0 against the rest of the attacks. The next attack again inflicts 2 points of damage, and the next one another 1. I lose 1 attack. I activate Raziel and try to again manipulate Lyra. I need a 4 and fail. Then I move Raziel in contact with Lyra and Jonas. Lyra reacts to my movement with a counter shot, which costs 2 reaction points and gets -1 to hit. However, she misses completely. I first attack Gionas, who reacts with a counter blow. Gionas suffers 4 points of damage, which costs him 5 centimeters of movement and 3 morale points. Together with the 2 morale points lost through Raziel's terrifying ability, Gionas also loses 1 attack. His counter blow is completely blocked by Raziel. With his last action, Raziel again attacks Gionas and takes him out of the game. Kiena can no longer watch his friends getting slaughtered, so he rushes to the rescue. Seiya uses 1 action to stand up. Then he successfully uses soul energy on himself and heals 3 damage points. Next he attacks Danai, who makes a counter blow. I only manage 1 damage point on Danai, and he does 1 in return. Seiya attacks again, and Danai loses 5 health points and 5 centimeters of movement. Lyra is last, and uses a retreat action to leave the close combat. This costs her 1 reaction point and 3 morale points, which in turn costs her 1 ranged attack. Then she may move half her movement range away from Raziel, and immediately ends her activation. This ends round 3, and it remains very close. Sven seems determined to wipe out my angels. Let's see how far he gets. Sven still has the first activation and attacks Seiya with Danai and his tentacles. Danai attacks first and Seiya reacts with a counterblow. Seiya suffers 2 points of damage and loses 1 attack. His counterblow only inflicts 1 point of damage, so Danai survives with 1 health point. The tentacles attack next, and they manage to take out Seiya. Next, Danai moves closer to Raziel, but Sven decides against moving him into base-to-base contact. I activate Raziel, move him into contact with the Angel Shard, and absorb it. Next, I move into contact with Lyra, who tries a counter shot but does no damage. With his last action, Raziel attacks Lyra and inflicts 1 point of damage. Lyra activates and makes a close combat attack. She even hits once, but the hit is blocked. She attacks again, but my block dice again don't fail me. Last Kiana activates and moves towards the close combat. He doesn't join it yet, as Raziel still has reaction points left. This ends round 4, and even though Raziel is now pretty alone, I'm still very optimistic, as Sven has not managed to get any scenario points yet. And those will decide the game in the end. In the beginning of round 5, Danai moves twice into contact with Raziel. This time, his tentacles attack first. The first one completely misses. The second one hits once, but is blocked. Then Danai attacks and I react with a counter blow. He hits 3 times, and I suffer 2 points of damage. At this point we realize that Danai has to suffer 2 points of morale damage, and he loses control over one of his tentacles, which doesn't matter as they didn't really do anything. My counter attack hits exactly once, and the hit is blocked. Danai survives again. Raziel activates and attacks Danai, who reacts with a counter blow. This time the Atlantean can't resist and is removed, together with his remaining tentacle. Next, Raziel attacks Lyra, who also makes a counter blow. She is also removed. Next, Raziel flies to the next Angel Shard and absorbs it. Kiana activates, moves into contact with Raziel and attacks him. The first attack completely misses. The second one hits twice and inflicts 1 point of damage, which costs me 1 defense. At this point, Sven can no longer win. Even if he would manage to kill Raziel, then he would get a total of 130 points. I already have 80 points because of the shards I absorbed, and in addition the points for the killed Atlanteans. We still decide to fight the duel to the end. For honor. I regain the initiative, and Raziel attacks Kiana, who makes a counter blow. I score 5 hits, Sven's block fails, and the last of the brave Atlanteans falls. The game is decided, and the Angels have won. Good game, Sven. That's the game. Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, make sure to check out the Rapture Kickstarter campaign. It contains starter sets for the factions you saw in this video, and also a third, more high-tech faction, the New World Order. There are also some fighters to expand the existing starter sets, as well as mercenaries who can be used in all factions. You can also check out the Gravity Bay website, where you can download the full rulebook for free, as well as a print and play version if you want to test the game yourself. I would also greatly appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel and like and leave a comment below the video. Thanks again for watching. I am Toby, this is Beer and Pretzels Tabletop, and I hope to see you next time.